Has Islamist extremism in the UK become even worse than it is in the Middle East at the moment? This video is going to shock you.
I think you have more extremists in UK than you have in the Middle East.
Really?
At this stage, absolutely. The things that some of the Islamists say in various mosques, and we have been seeing that online, the terminology they use, the analysis they make, the statements they actually make, they would not be able to say it all the way in Afghanistan, for example, or in Iraq.
So how has this been allowed to flourish in the UK? What's your analysis of that?
In the name of democracy. So the Muslim Brotherhood, who are the Islamists, who are the main ones, are ruling and controlling in various press when it comes to the Muslim society and community in the UK. They control the whole narrative, and the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamists are the radical Islamists. They're the Islamists, and they use the freedom of speech in a manner where they will be anti-Semite in the name of freedom of speech. I absolutely stand against that, because I think anti-Semitism is not an opinion, it's a crime, and a crime against humanity. And once you allow that, on the 7th of October, for example, when it happened, the genocide against the Israelis, what I saw and what we witnessed is the fact that some Islamists all the way from here, in Small Heath, in Al Amrak, in Birmingham, and other areas, we saw their voices. It was pro-Hamas. Yes. And Hamas, as a force which carried that genocide in Gaza and also in Israel, it's actually the armed forces of the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood in my country, for example, UAE, where Muslim, where Arab, is banned, but however is not banned in the United Kingdom.
Wow. So tolerance in the UK of Islamist extremism is worse than it is in places like the UAE in the Middle East. I think there are very big questions to be asked about how far we extend freedom of speech. We've heard or you may not have heard of Karl Popper's paradox of tolerance, which is that if you tolerate the intolerant, then tolerance will destroy itself. And it feels like that is what is happening here. We are allowing preachers to say the absolute most horrendous things, and they are gaining more and more power in this country. You heard what he said there. We are allowing people to say Islamist extremist things in this country that would be banned in the UAE. He thinks we have more extremists here in the UK than we do in the Middle East. That is a pretty shocking statement. Let's listen on.
So it should be banned?
Absolutely, because they use the freedom of speech to censor your right to speak against them. And when they say, if they use the terminology Islamophobia, it's just to stop you from criticizing the Islamist and the Muslim Brotherhoods or all form of radicalism.
This is what I mean by tolerance destroying itself. If you allow people to have a voice who are campaigning to take away the rest of our rights, to take away the rest of our freedom of speech, to dismiss us all as Islamophobic, and then push politicians to put Islamophobia laws, i.e. blasphemy laws, in place that take away our freedom of speech, then, if you're pro-free speech, I'm sorry, but you've lost there. You've lost. There are no perfect answers to these nuances with freedom of speech. It's difficult, but we've just had, what does this Islamist extremism lead to? Well, we've just had 2 horrible attacks just in the past week from Islamist extremists, or supposed Islamist extremists, alleged Islamist extremists, in Austria and in Germany. We have had the Southport attack last year here in Britain from a young boy who was radicalised with Islamist extremist ideology. We have just had in the news yesterday David Amos's daughter speaking out, demanding a full public inquiry because the Prevent programme, the killer of that MP, David Amos, was known to the Prevent programme as an Islamist extremist inspired by ISIS, but they just dismissed him. They exited him from the programme very quickly, and she is suggesting that not only could her father's death have been prevented if authorities had acted seriously about Islamist extremists, but also these Southport attacks may not have happened if Prevent had got its act together and learnt its lessons from her father's death. This is serious stuff, guys. This isn't just about freedom of speech. It's about saving lives, stopping horrible attacks. There are a heck of a lot of horrendous terror attacks happening over in Europe at the moment. I fear that there are going to be more of them happening on British soil if we do not sort this out, and we do not sort out this complete sham of an organisation that is the Prevent programme, which, you know, I may just be hypothesising here, but I've got a feeling they're more worried about being called racist than actually dealing with proper extremism. Let's keep listening.
The fact that Islamic Relief, for instance, is registered as a charity here, but all the way in Saudi Arabia, in UAE and other countries is banned because of the investigation that showed that these charities sending money all the way to some terrorist groups in the Middle East.
Yes.
It tells you a lot.
What do you think then? This Islamophobia definition, obviously people are worried about it in the UK because it could prevent legitimate criticism of people who have behaved in an extreme way. Absolutely. I mean, moderate Muslims are saying, look, we don't want to be accused of being terrorists. We don't want to be accused of being members of child rape gangs. We just want to live our lives harmoniously with British people. They're the ones who are calling out the extremists in their midst. Where do you stand on things? You will have heard about the story of the Batley school teacher who taught a history lesson about Muhammad and used a depiction of Muhammad in a cartoon. He's gone into hiding. Another school child dropped a Quran. Suddenly he was rounded on by members of the Muslim community in that area and forced to publicly repent.
This is the line where we shouldn't. The diversity is accepted, but in the same time we shouldn't harm anybody's religion. In the same time, what you have in here is Islamist Muslim Brotherhood, and they control the narrative in various stuff. For example, the grooming when it happened of the children and all that, and the raping of children in Britain because of certain members of the Muslim society. Why didn't we have a protest as much as we had it for Gaza in the street and raising their pictures and asking the justice to bring them back into prison at least, or at least put the trial back and so on? Why didn't we have that? That's because you have the Muslim Brotherhoods who are the party that organize this protest and controls the community when to go out and not to go out, and it controls everything. When you have illegal immigrants coming all the way to Britain, for example, the Muslim Brotherhood all the way in Al-Amrak, all the way in Smallheath, all the way in Birmingham, in Sheffield, what they do, they actually bring them lawyers, change the cases. They literally work on changing their cases where it fits the Home Office that they going to guarantee them citizenship or a refugee status. And what they do after these guys become a citizen, they become loyal to the person that helped them to get the citizenship. And then what happens if they become a member of the council, or they become a member of the parliament, or they become an activist or a journalist, they're loyal to the ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood. Salafism, all type of radicalism, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, all that is started in radicalization at the first stage, which is the Muslim Brotherhood, which is exactly when the review in the parliament happened here in 2015. He spoke about that the Muslim Brotherhood stand against the morals and the values of the British people, and is dangerous and is a secret society. It uses schools, mosques and other places to
indoctrinate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
that is absolutely shocking. I could not believe that where we were hearing from this guy that people who come across on boats here or in lorries to Britain illegally are essentially being, groomed by the Muslim Brotherhood. They help them with their applications. Come to us, we'll give you lawyers, we'll help pull all the strings and tick all the boxes to make sure your application is accepted by the Home Office. And in order to make these asylum seekers loyal to them, and then they can radicalise them if they want to. That's terrifying. Okay, maybe that partly explains why we have had so many scary stories in the news, including those that have happened in Austria and Germany over the past week of people who came across as asylum seekers committing horrendous attacks because maybe they have been groomed in this way. Now, I can't confirm for sure if everything that guy there is saying is true, but it's pretty scary. I think this country needs to wake up to what is going on. Anyway, I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very much for watching. That clip there was from the Camilla Tominey show on GB News. Make sure you subscribe to the Reason channel if you haven't already. See you next time.